How to get into the flow state. In everyday life, there are three levels: the conscious level, where your attention is most of the time; your subconscious, where your thoughts and emotions are generated and where they live; and then your unconscious. This is a level of great stillness. You might have felt it when you were immersed in the present during a peak experience. Now, most people's attention is fixated on the external world, but meditation is about sinking down to the level of stillness as much as possible. Of course, your thoughts won't let you do that so easily. They're very tricky and will do everything they can to distract you, but the stillness is always there. When actions come from this deep part of us, we're in the flow. There's no striving in it. The stillness is flowing into the action. Our actions become spontaneous without the usual monitor in our brain hampering us. In fact, a study in 2008 looked at jazz musicians in the flow and found that during improvisation, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex in these subjects was largely deactivated. Usually that area is associated with self-talk or the voice of doubt that tends to slow us down, our inner critic. So the flow state is about pure action without the self-monitor. In contrast, most of the actions of humanity come from here, the level of thoughts or emotions. When action comes from this level, there is a striving behind it. It becomes hard work, it doesn't flow and creates stress. Your action and the subsequent result will have the seed of restlessness in it. This is the trying state. Remember this iconic scene. Yoda is encouraging Luke Skywalker to be in the flow. Luke says doubtingly that he'll give it a try, but Yoda senses his state and simply tells him to stop trying. Go deeper, he says. Let it flow from a deeper place. But it's not just Yoda. When McKinsey and Company did a 10-year-long study on the flow state, they found executives reported being 500% as effective whilst in the flow. That's an enormous leap, but in truth, the difference between flow and trying action is unquantifiable. So what is the solution? Firstly, notice that we never lose our presence. We can only lose touch with it, or it can get covered up. But it's always accessible if only we reconnect. Be aware of the flow in the whole body. It's not just the mind that is immersed. You feel flow as a whole body experience. In fact, evidence suggests that the flow state is reliably linked to vagus nerve stimulation. In other words, when your whole body is in a relaxed state, that facilitates flow. Be aware of everyday things that can affect your body's physiology, like music. A study found that those who listened to certain classical music tracks for 30 minutes showed a significant drop in cortisol, but those who listened to techno under the same conditions showed an increased level of the stress hormone. They all affect the physiology in their own way, and a heightened state of stress is not conducive to flow. There's an excellent way to identify exactly when you're losing touch. Just think of an area where your actions are stressed or frustrated. That's almost certainly because they're coming from this place. Be aware of the whole movement that takes place. Here's an example. If a person just wants to make money or achieve something to impress somebody else, that is an emotional drive. Peer pressure is an emotional drive, and consequently, his whole effort will be frustrating and restless because it doesn't come from a deep place and will not flow. Certain things make it easier to be in the flow state, perhaps playing an instrument or some other creative act. These are very useful, but you should aim to be in touch with it all the time, not just during specific acts. Being in the state of flow all the time is known in Zen as Mushin no Shin.